Cody O'Connor. We're live on Subway Sports Talk.
Stand clear of the closing doors.
Dude, you got me with that. I thought there was something happening at home.
All right, here we go. We are live on Subway Sports Talk. My name is Peter Kennedy, and I just got Cody O'Connor off guard, off the rip with my fun little intro there because the New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals. Yes, that's real. That's a statement. That is an actuality in the year 2026. And not only do they have their spot in the NBA Finals, Cody, they get to wait 9 days total before they get to play another game in said NBA Finals, even though they will be away at either your Oklahoma City Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs. Cody O'Connor, I think I'm probably feeling a little bit better than you right now as a Knicks fan, and you still have a little stress on your chest. But Cody O, how are you feeling today, brother?
Pete, I feel strange because people aren't going to love this. But as you've known since you've known me, I always support the Knicks. I was just at my family's earlier today, all Knicks fans, all talking and excited, and I like to join in. And I can't stand the fact that I could potentially be the one to stand in the way. So I feel very weird. I feel like I'll be in something of a can't lose because it's either my Thunder or the New York Knicks, who I'd be very happy for and about. But then I also feel like a villain. And I'm not a good villain, Pete. I'm not good at it.
No, well,
so I feel very strange, but I'm super happy for you guys. Pumped to watch what the Knicks did to the Cavs. And I've just been trying to enjoy a game at a time with OKC and see what happens in that series.
And I think that's all you can do, right? And one game at a time. That's what the playoffs truly are. And your series, Thunder Spurs, is the perfect example of one game at a time, right? After game one, oh my God, look at the Spurs. They're elite. Wemby's here. They're straight to the finals. And then the Thunder win 2 in a row. And you're like, sorry, we overreacted. The Thunder are still the champs. They need to be dethroned. It's not going to happen that easy. The Thunder are winning this series for sure, for sure. And then the Spurs come back out and win game 4. And oh my God, Wemby's back and he's going straight to the finals. And then the Thunder win game 5. And it's like, I can't even picture the Spurs winning this series now, right? Like that's really what the NBA playoffs is in a nutshell. It is even more bizarre that the Knicks haven't had that experience since game 3 of the first round. I remember I made a TikTok on Subway Sports Talk. Shout out Subway Sports Talk on TikTok. After game 3, I was like, yo, the Knicks Hawks series is not over yet. And right at that point, I was like feeling a little bold to say that. Like, hey guys, have you watched a playoff series before? This is how it goes. There's ups, there's downs, and the Knicks are not going anywhere. I promise the Knicks are going to make this series a series, and I think they're still going to win it, right? And I felt bold saying that. How bold could I have been, Cody? They haven't lost since that. They haven't lost a game. They've hardly played a close game since that. They had a close-ish game 2 against Philly, and then obviously the big-time comeback against Cleveland in game 1. That's it. Everything else hasn't been remotely close. And now, weirdly for you, with the Thunder and the Spurs series, hasn't been many close games since game 1 either. Kind of the games that have been won. And now we're entering game 6 tomorrow night, which is going to be Thursday night. And it's an interesting vibe because every single game that ended, it felt like we learned what's going to happen next. And if we've learned anything with that series is we shouldn't trust our eyes. We shouldn't trust what we just watched, right? So it's a whirlwind, and really the Knicks are breaking the brains of basketball fans here because they haven't played more than 2 or 3 close games in the last month and a half.
They just steamrolled. Like, I feel so good about saying that they should want Cleveland, and I took the Knicks in 5, said they probably wouldn't struggle with Detroit either. And as they just, once they made that comeback in game 1, I'm sure a lot of people felt it. I'm certain Knicks fans felt it, but probably are more, I'm going to be reserved. I don't want to over talk because I don't want to be the jinx or, this to come back to bite us in the butt. But you kind of felt like they took the Cavs' souls in that game 1. And it was the Cavs' best chance to almost like sneak attack, get the Knicks off of rest to actually make it a series. But the truth is there was just a talent disparity. It was just that simple, that straightforward. The Knicks are such a well-rounded roster, which we talked about on the last pod, and the Cavs are a good roster with good players with obvious flaws. And they didn't have the depth the Knicks had, and it wasn't even like it needed to be depth because it was only a 4-game series, 4-game sweep.
Right.
I mean, they just, in every facet of the game, look not just better than Cleveland, not just better than Philly. Like, they look like the best team, one of the 3 best teams in the NBA. I saw a stat about the best net rating since January, which I remember seeing last season, and it was Indiana and Oklahoma City. And
Right.
this year it's San Antonio, Oklahoma City, New York. Like, it's not by surprise. The Knicks have just been playing awesome, awesome basketball. They're an awesome team who, no matter who comes out of the West, is going to have a whole new challenge ahead of them and should be not like, not scared. Like, you shouldn't come out of beating Oklahoma City or beating San Antonio and be scared, but you certainly should think we have to play our best basketball. And even that could potentially not be enough. That's where I think the Knicks are.
Yeah, 100%. And some housekeeping before we continue the conversation on the NBA Finals with the Knicks, and then obviously touching on Spurs and Thunder as their series continues. Subway Sports Talk, Pete Kennedy and Cody O'Connor, right here. We're live on Twitter at Subway Sports Talk. That's TLK on the end. Also live on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, watching on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know your prediction for the Knicks in the finals, or if you don't have your prediction just yet because you want to wait till who they're going to see, go ahead and drop who you'd prefer the Knicks to actually see in the finals, the Spurs or the Thunder. Because at this point in time, the Knicks have kind of broken the brains of fans a little bit here, where they're creating these narratives, whether positive or negative, that are throwing people for wrenches, right? It's really just messing people up. People are talking about how they've gotten to this point, and there are obviously some people who are pointing to the statistics that Cody just alluded to that said, hey, this team is a historic run right now. They are playing the best basketball of their collective lives, and they are legit. They are here, and they are a contender. Then there's the opposite side of the spectrum where they're saying, who did you beat? They beat the Hawks. Who cares? They beat the Sixers. Embiid was hurt. Who cares? They beat the Cavs. They're overrated. They suck. The Knicks are actually fraudulent. They're going to get smoked by the West, right? Those are two polar ends of the spectrum that are actual opinions of actual people. So when you have that strong of opinions on both sides of the fence, Cody, things start to get very interesting, right? Because like you just said, should the Knicks go ahead and be scared entering the finals? No, they're playing amazing basketball, but they shouldn't be overconfident. They shouldn't go in there thinking they're going to win no matter what. Obviously, they're going to be underdogs no matter who they get faced up, according to the sports books right now, right? So with that being said, I don't want to lead you on too easily here, but which side of the fence are you vibing with the New York Knicks? You kind of just gave it away. And maybe if so, what do you want to say to the people on the other side of the fence? Because I have some things to say about one side of the fence versus the other.
Well, we did allude to it last time when it was going into the Philly series, and the conversation was not the Knicks are going to wipe the floor with them. Then they did, and then the conversation changed. And you weren't watching that first game against the Cavs and saying the Knicks are going to wipe the floor with them, and then they did, and the conversation changed. And the reality is you just play who's in front of you. And Pete, I wish sometimes you'd think the same way, because two things can be true. I wish you would ever think that way.
Have I ever said that? That's weird.
I just wish you would. Because the reality is whoever they see in the finals will be a far superior team to the Cavs, Sixers, or Hawks. We can agree on that. The Spurs and Thunder are a different league than those three teams I named.
Sure.
However, the Knicks are in the same tier, in the same group as the Thunder and the Spurs are. Those three, to me, are equal playing fields. And while it's going to be a huge step up, it's not like they just beat those teams. They dismantled those teams. They looked great doing it. They got out of there with all of their guys healthy and gaining more rest. And so while, again, they weren't the greatest teams, can I really sit here and say that Oklahoma City or San Antonio, given a role reversal and they had the Knicks shoes, certainly they couldn't do it any better, but am I even certain that they would have wiped the floor the same way? Would they have swept the Eastern Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Semifinals the way the Knicks did and closed out Atlanta the way they did? I'm not so certain of that. So
if I could pause you for a second, all of history in this league would point to you that you're certain they wouldn't, because what the Knicks just did is unlike basically any other run that's ever happened in the NBA. You're talking about the peak prime Kevin Durant Warriors, number one. You're talking about the peak prime Wade Bosch LeBron Heat. You're talking about the Lakers in the mid 80s with Magic Johnson and an old Kareem and a star-studded roster. Those are the teams that have put up numbers like the Knicks just did. And because we're in it right now, Cody, because we just saw the Hawks get run off the floor and the Sixers get run off the floor and the Cleveland Cavaliers get run off the floor, they all suck in our brains, right? But history will look at this run as what it is: historic domination, historic beating ass, because that's exactly what's gone on for the past month with the Knicks in the playoffs, Cody. Like you said, they're not just winning these games, they're not just sweeping these series. They are dominant beyond any optimistic Knicks fans' imaginable dreams. That's how good they've been. It's not just a simple run to the finals. It is pure domination.
You nailed it. Like, I don't think there's anything more to add. It's just it's frustrating to watch how the NBA gets covered, and I don't want to take this into a take that I'm going to
Please
probably get to when it talks to. Well, I just
about the thunder and the flopping and the whatnot.
Yeah, and like
you can
not,
save that if you'd like, but yeah.
Okay, not to go all the way there,
but
here's the illusion. Like, that's not a word. But
yeah,
what it
sure
is the frustration is how the league is getting covered. And it's one thing when it's just like social media and it's, just a bunch of idiots on their parents' couch who, was me for a long time. But they're just making takes and whatever. But when real people, real media members fall for some of this stuff and cover the league so poorly, and they're the same people that should be uplifting the league and they should be promoting the league, and they just want to talk about certain things. And again, that is really alluding to the Thunder series and the calls, the fouls, the free throws, the flopping, whatever you want to call it. I think it just does such a disservice to the NBA and what we're actually watching. 100%. And I can't stand to see it and to have it happen with the Knicks just because they've been so dominant that you want to try to find a way to bring them down. Again, it's one thing when it's social media people, but it's another when it's real people who have an actual voice. I can't stand that. And it's, a league that already struggles for ratings. And these people that, again, should be promoting it are doing it, to me, just such a disservice.
And the ratings conversation has actually been very positive for the NBA in the second half of the year and in the playoffs so far. They've been doing really good numbers, really strong stuff. And that is what Mike Breen said in the Dan Patrick Show clip that I saw online today. He goes, yeah, this conversation online is really loud, right? With the refs and the officiating and the flopping and the competition on one side versus the other. It's a loud conversation online. It's not how most people feel, right? Social media is and kind of always will be for the foreseeable future the loud minority, right? I speak to people at the high school I work at. I know you speak to people at the school you work at. I speak to relatives. I speak to people in my life. They don't know what's going on Twitter. They don't know. They're not on it. They don't see it. It's mostly the freaks who watch, are watching us right now and on Subway Sports Talk Live on Twitter. It's the freaks who are tweeting up all night about who knows what. That's one side of the spectrum, because I agree with you. The idea that this current iteration of the NBA is not peaking, it's not super strong, is just blasphemous to me, because you have stars all across the league. If you wanted to really make a nitpick of what's been wrong with the NBA Finals, it's Luka Doncic being hurt, it's Anthony Edwards going down, it's Dante DiVincenzo tearing an Achilles. And now remember, we're one playoffs off of Dame, Tatum, and Halliburton tearing an Achilles. Granted, Halliburton all the way at the very end. Halliburton also out for this whole year, another star off the shelf. That's more brutal to me than a conversation about bad officiating or flopping or whatever it may be. But to circle back to the Knicks conversation here, you mentioned my favorite line, that two things can be true. In this particular instance, I don't think two things are true, because if we just talked about how pre-Hawks Knicks, the absolute, what's the word I'm looking for? The absolute agreed upon synopsis of that series was the Knicks got unlucky. They got the draw with the Hawks that none of the top four teams in the East wanted. That's true. That is pretty much collectively agreed upon across media, social media, everybody alike, to the idea that pre-Hawks Knicks series, Knicks fans had to hear from Hawks fans. Remember 2021? We're going to beat your ass again. We're going to kick you out of the playoffs again. Okay, then they go up 2-1 and CJ McCollum looks like second coming of Jesus Christ. Here we are again. You can't beat the Hawks. We're your kryptonite, blah, 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 blah. So what was it? Was those first 3 games, they didn't count? They were pretend. All the pre-series predictions, they were fake, didn't count. Everyone saying the Knicks were unlucky with that draw, didn't count, wasn't real, just because the Knicks beat their ass that bad. Same thing with Philly. When Philly was beating Boston, legitimate conversations across all media, social, TV, radio, YouTube, podcast, doesn't matter. Real conversations. Are the Sixers a tougher matchup than the Celtics right now? Should the Knicks actually be rooting for the Celtics right now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's real, Cody. That happened. And I'm not yelling at you, obviously. I'm just getting amped up. Then the Sixers win the series, and real people, again, real human beings who have a voice in media are picking the Sixers to win the series. The Knicks beat them so bad that the Sixers are now a JV basketball team. No, that's not how it works. The Cleveland Cavaliers, same thing. A real chance to beat the Knicks. Cavs fans were talking crazy online, Cody. They were saying that the Raptors and the Pistons were this murderer's row. Oh, and the Cavs are ready for the Knicks because they played the second best defense in the NBA and the fourth best defense in the NBA, even though the Knicks were 7th with a way better offense than both teams in the regular season. But we're not talking about regular season, are we now? We should be, or we shouldn't be. I don't know. My point is this. The Cavs played 7 with the Raptors, so that makes them tougher. No, how about the Cavs struggled and tripped over themselves over and over again in that series? Same thing with the Pistons series. Now you can say, oh, the Pistons, the Knicks got lucky. They didn't get the Pistons, they didn't get the Celtics. First of all, the Celtics were not who we thought they were. It showed out very strongly in that series against the Sixers. If you want to pretend that the Celtics had some chance to hang with this Knicks team after the performance they put out and Tatum getting banged up in the end of the Sixers series, have at it. You can go talk to a freaking wall. That's a joke. Kata and Vucevic couldn't have been allowed to touch the floor in a Knicks series this year. Those guys couldn't guard a cone in that series if they played each other. So Celtics, get them out of here. And the Detroit Pistons that we watch in the playoffs were absolutely not even close to the Detroit Pistons that whooped the Knicks' ass, rightfully so, all year long. This is the difference. Playoff basketball and regular season basketball is truly a different sport with days and weeks to game plan, multiple games in a row to adjust. The real coaches show out. And I didn't know Mike Brown had this all in his bag because he's made some adjustments that are very impressive, him and his staff. The Pistons were a paper tiger. The Celtics were a paper tiger. The Knicks by themselves may have altered the trajectory of multiple franchises by the beating that they handed out so far in this playoffs. The Cavs meetings today about what their plan is for the offseason are very different, Cody, because of what the Knicks just did. If this was a normal 6-game series, if this was a super tight 7-game series, the Cavs with great reason would look in the mirror and say, yeah, we were a game away. We're ready to run this back. We'll move on the margins and we'll beat that team next year. And now they're saying, should we trade Donovan Mitchell? Should we trade Evan Mobley? That's the difference, Cody. Those teams didn't suck. They just got outclassed by a team that is playing phenomenal. And that, to me, is just undoubtable. And people who don't want to hear that, go ahead and talk to your wall that is social media.
Reply to us on Twitter because that's where you get your takes off of, and that's where most of our narratives get formed. And then again, real people start to follow them. Very well said, Pete. There's not too much to add. Also, the other question with Cleveland that they're asking, should we keep Kenny Atkinson? Because that team
they said they are gonna.
They looked like they quit on him, and I don't know, Pete, if they quit on him or if just anybody getting their ass kicked that bad is just going to have quit at that point. Because that's what the Knicks did to them and to these other teams. I think, if you really want to make an argument like that Boston was the best chance at the Knicks, fine, because the others were so pathetic comparatively. It was the Knicks conference. There's no question about it. And now we're going to really see about what Mike Brown is about because what we've seen, what should be getting covered in this Thunder and Spurs series, is the adjustments that keep getting made game to game. And you did talk about that before, how you can't really take what you saw in the previous game, because in the next one, the team is adjusting to it and they're making changes on the fly every single game. That's what I think is going to be required from Mike Brown and the Knicks. Like, no matter how good they look, they're not sweeping their way through the finals through either of these teams. That would absolutely shock me. And it would also shock me the same way if one of these Western Conference teams swept the Knicks. Like, just to be very clear about that before somebody jumps down to my throat about it. So their conference, they were unbelievable. I do want to ask you, like, what you felt completely changed, what shifted in the playoffs, what button was pressed, which player or players really stepped up. I was talking with my family before about what a difference I've seen in Cat, like how he just feels, whether it's that he's accepted his role, which is what I kind of see, or whatever the case may be. But this guy becoming kind of like a semi-legit rim protector, like a pretty good rim protector throughout these playoffs, a real defender, not making the dumb fouls, making every extra pass, and then seemingly, just like the rest of the team, just perfectly timing when he should be aggressive offensively, when he should shoot the ball. I personally feel like it comes from the whole team gelling in a way that when the ball leaves your hands, you have a comfort that either one of two things is going to happen. One, you can get it back. And then two, if you don't get it back, it's because the best shot was taken in that possession. And I feel like they have built that chemistry and confidence. But I just wonder, from your perspective, a guy, I watched a lot of games. You watched closer than I do. What you saw from the regular season to the playoffs that seemingly changed into this now juggernaut? Because the reality, even though we talked about the net rating, there were times during the regular season where there were definite question marks about the team.
For sure. And I think I'll have to go back a little bit postseason to start the story, because about 15-ish games left in the season, the Knicks really started dominating, right? Now you look at who they beat in that final stretch, it was a lot of bad teams. There's a lot of lottery type teams, right? So you don't want to look too deeply into, how they crushed I don't know, the Bulls or whatever. I don't know. I'm just making up a team right now. I forget off the top of my head. You don't want to look too deep into how they were dominating the Pelicans, right? That's not something that you should care too deeply about in the end of the regular season. But those final 10, 15-ish games, that offense started to come together. That defense started to come together. Their analytics, offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating was pretty much good all year. Obviously had a pretty big lull and a nice losing streak around the All-Star break, et cetera, right after the NBA Cup final and stuff like that. But what they started to do, which then even went up another, 100% in the playoffs, is making quick decisions and the right decisions. And I know you probably listened to Tim Legler on Bill Simmons already. He said this exactly. He goes, "This team right now is making all the right passes at all the right times." You sit there as a former player, you sit there as a guy who can coach and a guy who watches all these games, and you always see teams saying, "Okay, not a bad shot. Could have been a better shot if you hit this guy." Okay, look, Brunson ISO'd up that one, but he should have hit the drop off to Cat in the low post, right? You're always kind of thinking of this stuff, especially when you're a guy like Tim Legler. And he said that he's been watching these games, he's broadcasting them just in awe that it feels like they're making the right play every time. And you combine that with historic shot making that they have going on. Landry Shamet, 11 and 12 in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Josh Hart getting hot from three, Cat being ultra efficient, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby being aggressive and shooting the ball well. And I didn't even mention Jalen Brunson, right? To me, the big difference in how this team finally gelled together, I'm going to say, is Mikal Bridges. It would be easy to say Karl-Anthony Towns, right? But I thought Cat, and you can check the TikTok, I got receipts, for the final month of the season should have been featured even more, because he was playing insanely efficient basketball, passing the ball well. A lot of these passes that were going on in the Hawks, Sixers, and Cavs series, he started doing in the last month of the season. He really did. Then it took off to a new level, right? But Mikal Bridges, who got so much flack, so much crap all season long for up and down performances. How can this guy score 2 points in a game? How can this guy who never misses a game, have these crazy off nights, da 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 da? He started attacking the rim. And this didn't happen in game 1 against Atlanta. This happened in game 4 against Atlanta, right? After he had, what was it, 6 quarters in a row, he scored like 2 points or something like that. He got benched in back-to-back fourth quarters for Landry Shamet and Miles McBride. And then he came out and started attacking the rim. He started actually taking layups, and not just the fadeaways from the elbow and fadeaways from the low post. He went for layups and dunks, and he finished them. He got in transition and finished. He wasn't afraid to go at the rim. And then when he does that, his jump shots become that much more open. And then he started making a couple jump shots. And to me, when you talked about the Knicks' strength for the past 2 seasons, it's always been theoretically the starting lineup. It was never really on paper the starting lineup, Cody. We talked about it for years, for 2 years now. Their net rating as a starting 5 was mediocre. It truly was mediocre. Even this season, mediocre. Their best lineups were with Miles McBride in for one of them, or Mitch in for one of them, or Landry Shamet in for one of them. Now, with McHale and OG playing the way they've been, holy crap. This is the starting 5 that we thought we were getting, the quote unquote best starting 5 in the league 2 years ago. And maybe it just took this long for them to figure it out. But the way they're playing connected on offense is like I shouldn't say, it's like I've never seen from them until the last few months. It's new. And maybe it took those 2 heartbreaking back-to-back losses in Atlanta for them to look at each other and say, the hell are we doing? You know, McHale, can you finish at the rim, please? Hey, Jalen, maybe don't force so many ISOs, move the ball. We'll see what happens. OG saying, hey, guys, I can score 20 a game. Want to see if I can help out? And then bang, all these things just moved in the exact right direction at the exact right time. So I'd be very happy to call out Cat as a big contributor as to why they are hitting the stride right now. But I really want to call out McHale. And obviously the bench of Deuce and Shaman has been great, and Mitch has his moments. But Mikal Bridges, to me, is the unsung hero of this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, those are the 2 I brought up, Cat and McHale. Like, I've been banging the drum on McHale since the trade, and there were ups and downs and times where it got harder to defend him in that trade because everyone looks at the picks and they go, how could you give up 5 first-round picks for a guy who scores 13 points a game? And there were times where he was so inaggressive, and you're like, dude, you're making me look bad. Like, come on, buddy. Like, let's go. And it's just not who he has been recently. And they've just all picked their spots so well. There's such a trust and a connectivity in that team, which makes them so fun to watch, so easy to root for. And it's kind of reminiscent. My brother brought up like the old Warriors teams and like their ball movement and how it's reminiscent of that. I think there are a lot of times that OKC looks like that, despite the fact that nobody will want to give them credit. I will. They move the ball a lot like that. Like those teams that stay connected and move the ball in that way don't allow defenses to just hone in on one thing or one specific guy. It makes them so tough to cover and so tough to guard. And we've seen it in theory so often. Like you mentioned, that we've seen it theoretically, and there's been moments of it. And I brought Spurs, this up on the last pod, right, where you could see it potentially even last year with Tibbs, where it's like, this is what it could be, but it's not been that way consistently. And whether it's coaching, whether it's another full year together, which, believe it or not, means a lot, the chemistry and playing together really certainly helps a lot. Going through playoff stretches helps a lot. And we talk about the experience and the difference between they took their licks, they took their wounds. Can they now get over the hump? Or they've taken their licks, they've taken their wounds, and they're just going to keep taking them because we don't think that they're ever going to get past it. This team was always good enough to get over the hump. They took the real leap, and it's just outside of the fact that they're all blowouts, and as just a typical NBA fan, you'd like to see some drama. If you're just looking through the Knicks lens, it is as fun of a basketball team to watch, to cheer on, to root for, as you're going to find in the sport. And part of the reason why I'm so torn right now is just like, I don't want to root against them. I don't want to have to root against them. Maybe I will have to, though.
And it is one of those things where I've felt strange, Cody, sitting on my couch watching these games because I'm so used to massive anxiety during all of these Knicks playoff runs. Massive anxiety.
Yeah.
Right?
Every playoff run is like that, though.
Almost. And I got to say, outside of game 1 in Cleveland, it's like there's been no anxiety. Maybe a little bit to start a game because some of those first halves were pretty close. I think game 2 and game 3 were pretty close first halves for Cleveland and Knicks. But
Can I ask you before you move?
Yeah.
Like, because I felt this way when OKC was playing the Lakers, and I felt the exact same way with the Knicks playing the Cavs, where, yes, they were close, but not at one point did I watch and think the Cavs are the better team and they're actually going to get this done. I never once felt that way. That wasn't a cocky thing. It was just genuinely how I felt watching.
And again, you can't criticize the Knicks for taking care of business, right? Because those back-to-back 7-game series absolutely played a role in why the Cavs were playing the way they were. I thought in that second half of game one, they looked tired. And then throughout the rest of the series, they didn't have the legs the Knicks had. Mitchell didn't look 100% to me. Harden is old. Mobley is not that guy offensively yet. And the rest of the supporting cast is just not equivalent. It's not equivalent to the New York Knicks. Now, Cody, I'm going to shout out a comment in the chat real quick. Shout out my guy, Mike Didino, who I remember correctly on this very podcast last year predicted the Pacers to win that series last year, and I was so mad because he's a Knicks fan. So shout out to you, Mike. I don't know why that comment went away already, but
bring him on. His social media game has been unbelievable.
His social media game is fantastic. Fantastic. Friend of the show. He's blown up so much. I'm glad he still remembers us. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah,
we're going to get to his question here in a moment. His question about the OKC and the ref narrative, because I know Cody has takes as a Thunder fan. I have takes as well. But to ask you one more question about this Knicks concept here quickly. You mentioned the Golden State Warriors. Do you remember their slogan, Cody, in the pre-Kevin Durant championship runs? Do you remember their slogan?
I don't.
It was strength in numbers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That was on their T-shirts, right? The T-shirts they gave away at the arena, it all said strength in numbers, right? Because we want to remember these teams, and we remember Steph, we remember Clay, remember Draymond. Maybe you're like, oh, yeah, it wasn't Bogut on that team. Yeah, that was cool. Like, he was a former
Sean
one pick.
Livingston
He did some things, right?
Yeah.
But then you start thinking about why they were so good. It was Sean Livingston. It was Leandro Barbosa. It was Mo Spates. It was David West, right? Yeah. It was a lot of different folks who were helping this team with historic Hall of Fame players in Steph, Clay, and Draymond be as good as they were. They didn't win the most games in regular season history when Kevin Durant was on their team. They did it the year before because they had strength in numbers. And this Knicks team, to not say they're as good as that, because they're not, to not say they're as good as the Thunder have been the past 2 years, because they haven't proven that just yet, but they're close. They are a strength in numbers team, and it's proven out right now. Jalen Brunson is that guy. He's number one. He's on the top of the mountain right now with the New York Knicks. But they are not who they are right now without Cat, McHale, OG, Hart, Deuce, Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, Jordan Clarkson. Like, their benches come in to play other benches so much in this playoffs, more than I ever expected. And like Tyler Kohler comes in and dominates, right? Like, they just got a real team. And to go back to that Pacers series last year, Pacers, took their lunch, had crazy comebacks. Halliburton's a dude. He's obviously out for this entire year. The Knicks team that lost that series, albeit also with a different head coach who has a different style, who has put this team in a different direction, it's a completely different team from last year's Eastern Conference Finals, Cody.
One take, because I've certainly gotten enough wrong, but I've been saying since last year's OKC Pacers series, since all of it, was that the landscape of the NBA was different after that. That you needed to have more than just a 7-man rotation to withstand these playoffs now. It was one of the things I had talked about early with the Knicks team and how impressed with their roster I was because of the construction of having ball handlers, adding Jose Alvarado, who doesn't give you big minutes, but I'm certain he's a great locker room guy, and I'm certain that he gives you good enough minutes during the game. But he's another ball handler to add with Jordan Clarkson when he plays, to add with McHale and Jalen Brunson. You got multiple bigs with Mitch and Cat. You've got multiple wing defenders. You've got shooting options with Shamet and those other starting options. Like, the Knicks are a well-rounded team. The Spurs are a well-rounded team. The Thunder, we know the depth is a well-rounded team. It is what it takes right now. This is the current landscape, right? We've seen things like having a pair when it was Kobe and Shaq, and then it turned from having a duo to a big three, and then that big three became kind of like the Spurs took that out, and then it just shifts and shifts. And right now, in my eyes, where we are is needing somewhere between 8 and 10 guys, legitimately, to be able to withstand the physicality and the grind of a playoff series. Like, I know I keep going back to my own team, the Thunder, but Kenrich Williams came in the other night, hit 2 huge threes, had 8 points off the bench, made a big impact, and I thought helped shift that game. He's like the 12th guy on that team. Like, but that's the type of things that I think it takes. It's why I believe the Knicks are a very, very legitimate team threat chance. Spurs, Thunder alike. These teams are deep now. That's what it takes, in my opinion.
Very deep, very versatile, a lot of different skills. So we're going to segue into the Thunder Spurs conversation, but before we get into that matchup and what's left of it, I do want to ask you, Cody, as a semi-unbiased viewer, because you're your fandom is obviously with the Thunder, but like you said, your entire family is Knicks fans. I kind of want to ask you about that too. Maybe we'll do it at the end there, about how that dynamic operates a little bit, right? But if you were the Knicks, if you were a Knicks fan, take your Thunder fan out of it, because obviously you want to see the Thunder in the finals, right? If you were a Knicks fan, who would you want to see in the finals?
I think it's the Spurs. Part of it is some of the regular season stuff.
And you say you think because you don't want to like say like,
no. I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because if OKC comes in compromised like they are, missing 2 ball handling options, 2 creators, 2 shot makers, Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell, then I think it's far closer to even. And I might even say you'd rather see Oklahoma City if that's the reality. But if it's a fully healthy OKC who has been through the finals, been there, and the experience starts to play a factor, the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken, 3-0 against the Spurs, including the Cup game, one of which was definitely a blowout. I think that they could give more problems to San Antonio, to those ball handlers. They're also not fully healthy. So, objectively speaking, if I was a Knicks fan, I would be pulling for San Antonio, but I wouldn't be like... I'd be pulling for 7 games before anything.
For sure.
And then I would be like leaning San Antonio, but I wouldn't be exactly thrilled about playing a 7'5" alien either, because he is a freak.
And you know that intimately at the moment. I think the Spurs is the answer as well. I think what people are forgetting about the Spurs, and I know in our group chat, I made a quick little quippy comment back to our own Pat Boyle, who's leading one of the charges on the anti-Wemby campaign, right? He's kind of giving him the business about some of the stuff that's taken place in this playoff so far, some of the shortcomings, some of the ups and downs, right? Somebody had to do it, and Pat Boyle's that guy right now. My counter, which is very simple, people are forgetting, because this man is such a freak of nature, because he is so impressive, so unique, that it's his 3rd year in the NBA, Cody.
He's 22.
He's 22 years old. And who are the best players alongside him that you've watched very closely in this Spurs Thunder series right now? We're talking about 19-year-old Dylan Harper, 20-year-old Dylan Harper. We're talking about 22-year-old Stephen Castle. We're talking about 24, 25-year-old Devin Vassell. I didn't even look these numbers up, but I know they're pretty close. We're talking about Champagny. We're talking about De'Aaron Fox is the savvy vet on this team at 28, 29.
Don't forget Harrison Barnes, brother.
Well, if we're talking about savvy vet and somebody that missed a 3 late in the game, we've seen those Warriors series back. That's so rude. I'm sorry, I'm Harrison Barnes. You don't deserve that anymore. But I won't forget you missing all those 3s in that series. But nonetheless,
don't forget.
The Spurs are a very young team. If they lose this series, Cody, they're ahead of schedule. They're so far ahead of schedule. This man's in his 3rd year. We didn't expect LeBron James to make the finals in his 3rd year. He made it in his 4th, by the way, and lost in 4 games, got swept by the Spurs. But we didn't expect LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. Kobe made it because he was with Shaq. He wasn't that guy yet. These guys were never expected to be here already in year 3 at age 22. So as a Knicks fan, yes, give me the team that is just creating their first ever stars, right? The team that's now for the first time getting punched in the mouth in the playoffs. And they've answered well. And they could win this series. I don't think they're going to, and we're going to get to that matchup in a second here. But if you're a Knicks fan, you have to want the Spurs. Also, on top of that, the Knicks matched up immensely better with the Spurs this year than they did with the Thunder over the past 2. And again, last year should be not even remotely considered, because that was a different team. And frankly, this regular season should hardly be considered, because this is a different Knicks team. This is a different Thunder team. This is a different Spurs team. Every team, when you hit the playoffs and you play 3 rounds, you're a different team. You have a different grasp of who your rotations are. We always joke about the Thunder, Cody, all year long, because you're watching, I'm watching. Like, they got a different guy every night dropping 12, right? Last year, Aaron Wiggins was the savior. He can't even crack the damn lineup this year, right? Kenrich Williams comes in. Oh, we like what he does. It's insane the depth that they have. But now, after 3 rounds, they have a different grasp of who they are as well. So I think the Knicks should want the Spurs. That being said, Cody, and I say this with the utmost respect to both opponents, I think the Knicks have a very realistic chance no matter who it is.
I agree.
Very realistic. And I say very realistic not to say I think they're going to win. I think they should be favored. I think they're going to win in 4, 5. No, I'm not stupid. I've said Knicks in 6 every series. I said Knicks in 6 against the Hawks, Sixers, and Cavs. If I predict Knicks to win the series, which I probably will, I'm going to say Knicks in 6. That's it. There's no world in my brain that I can conceive the Knicks winning in 4 or 5. Is it possible? It actually is possible the way they've played. It's not likely at all.
No notes.
No notes.
You're right.
There you go.
All right. I'm good.
So there we go. We got 60. Let me see here. 60 people in the live on Twitter. We got a handful of people on YouTube here on Subway Sports Talk. Pete Kennedy and Cody O'Connor. We got a few minutes left, and by a few, probably 15 minutes if I have to say. And now we're going to talk some more Spurs Thunder in specificity. There we go. But let's start with the question that is probably dominating, rightfully or wrongfully or wrongly, the narrative of this series. Shout out Mike Didino again on YouTube, our guy. If you're watching this show, you know him. His content has been absolutely pristine, stellar, amazing for months now. I have so many friends in my life who send me Mike Didino videos, and I'm like, I know this guy. This guy was on my podcast.
I do the same. I was on a podcast with him once.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Mike, if you're still listening here. Your question is a great one. I know you've covered it in many videos as well. Mm-hmm. But Cody, this question needs to start with you.
Yeah.
Is the OKC refs narrative the most tiring thing in sports? And now when you hear tiring, you can kind of take that in many ways. Tiring as in like super negative, dumb, annoying, shouldn't be a narrative, or so bad that it's now become tiring and you're just tired of the whole situation. So which one is it for you? How are you feeling about this entire thing?
So obviously, like, there's been chatter about this type of thing for the last couple of years. And for the most part, Pete, I've really just ignored it because it really just came from like trolls online, people creating a narrative on Twitter. Every now and again, someone uses it for clickbait who's like in the media, but like no one real, like it's like I said, people on Twitter and our very own Mark Shen, like that's pretty much who were making these points. So I just never cared about it. I never cared to address it. I never thought it was important. I didn't think it would reach this type of a level. I think it's embarrassing, like I mentioned before. I think the series is so awesome. It's two legit juggernauts who could potentially be battling it out for years, and very little of the conversation is actual basketball. And the idea is that OKC doesn't play basketball. That's what they tell us. That's what they say. Numbers don't back this. I don't have them all in my head, but I've seen something along the lines of, one, OKC has the least amount of free throw attempts per game of the 4 remaining teams in the playoffs. The Spurs are dominating the free throw rate, like free throws allowed versus free throws attempted. The Spurs have dominated it. I think before last night's game, it was historic, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they both had 30. They both had 32 last night, exactly. So.
Oh, okay.
It shouldn't have changed the rate either way.
I thought OKC got to 38 and the Spurs were 32. I thought. Maybe. I could be wrong. But the point is, it's not even the point. Like, it's just the numbers don't back it. So then everyone goes, yeah, but it's what I watch. But these people who make these takes are watching just Twitter clips. And so OKC is under this microscope. And every time they do something that's even a little bit close to on the line, it's clipped, it's slow mode, it's put on Twitter, and everyone reacts to it. But they're not actually watching the flow of the game. Again, we talked about what Mike Breen said, which I sent to you guys. I listened to Tarico talk about them on Versillo's pod. Like, I have too many takes about this. I saw one the other day that SGA's free throws over the last 2 seasons in the playoffs, it's like a 35-game span, would not even rank in the top. Are you ready for this number, Pete?
Please.
In the top 1,000. It would not rank in the top 1,000 free throws taken over a 35-game playoff span. Of guards to score 30-plus per game. SGA, it said there's like 80. It's something around that total. Like 80 seasons of guards scoring 30 points per game. SGA's seasons over the last 3 years are like 60th, 65th, 68th. He was 3rd in the league in free throw attempts. But then they'll switch their conversation. This is what's so frustrating. The narrative has completely shifted from he's a free throw merchant to it's not just free throws. Whoa, hold up. Wait. Because your conversation has shifted from all he does is shoot free throws. Because when you hear free throw merchant, that means he solely relies on free throws. If not for those, he would not score at nearly the same rate. the same guy who in his MVP season last year led the league in field goals made. And if you want to cherry pick the stat, it's second in field goals made per game. That was last season. I don't know where he was at this season. I'm sure he's right up there yet again as he shot 55% from the field. So I think it's tiring. I think it's boring. I think it's an excuse because you're not really watching. I have just too many takes to get out over this time period, but I just think the worst part of it is when real people do it and take away from the great basketball that's actually being played, the physicality, the back and forth, the chess match, this freak alien on one side versus the back-to-back MVP, the role players on each side playing awesome basketball, knocking down shots. Yes, there are some flops. Yes, there are things that even I don't love. I'm not sitting here ever telling you he doesn't do it or they don't do it, but everyone in the league does. Again, he's never led the league in free throw attempts per game, and like here we are driving the narrative about this awesome series, and all they talk about, all of them, is just flopping free throws fall percentage, which was made up literally this year. No one's ever heard of that until this year. Like, it's insane. It's unbelievable that that's what's dominated. And again, I'll say it. It's embarrassing to me that people who should promote the league, promote the NBA, this is as good as we can get, have taken this narrative and only talked about it and taken away from the greatness that is this series. Whether it was my team or not, I'm telling you, this is as objective as I can be. I'll end with this because I know people probably think I'm biased because I'm a Thunder fan. Maybe to some extent I am. But is it possible that you hate them so much that they're so good that you want to make sure that your narrative fits, that you're the biased one? Is that possible, media members? That you hate them that bad, that you're actually biased even though you technically don't have a dog in the fight?
Interesting. that might be onto something there, Cody O. Because I think what happens too, right? You're talking about social media merchants. How about that? How about that?
There you go.
Social media merchants, box score watching merchants. That's what I want to call out here after all the points you just made here. And I will play devil's advocate in a moment. Don't you worry. People who are pissed right now saying Cody O'Connor is a Thunder fan and I can't stand him. I'll play devil's advocate in a moment. What bothers me and what I think bothers Mike Didino, who is watching so many sports because you watch his stuff online, he can't find all the clips that he puts out on TikTok if he's not tapped in and watching, right? It takes away from Alex Caruso. It takes away from Jared McCain just being unconscious. It takes away from Isaiah Hartenstein, who is hitting floaters like you'll never believe, right? It takes away from a team that is so deep, so solid, plays incredible defense, right? Because what do all the haters of today's NBA say, Cody? They don't play defense like they used to. This league is soft. Can you believe they call this a sport, Cody O'Connor? Hey, Cody O, they play no defense in this league anymore. Back in my day, clotheslines, right? That's what you hear from a lot of folks. And that is what bothers me the most about the narrative. Because if you say that what you loved about basketball took place in the 90s and the 2000s, the art of the mid-range and the post-ups, oh, the tough defense, I couldn't get enough of it. The Thunder are the closest thing to that exact style that exists in the league. And yeah, of course, the Thunder will rip their threes. They'll shoot them just like everybody else. But they play in the mid-range. Shea is Mr. Mid-range. He lives there like your favorite guys, Michael and Kobe Bean Bryant, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, living in the mid-range. Michael Jordan, living in the mid-range. I have no problem saying it, Cody. I'm not a Thunder fan. I want to see them lose. I just told you. I want the Spurs to win. I want the Knicks to beat whoever comes out of the West. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is 10,000 times closer to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bean Bryant than any of the haters would be ever willing to admit because they're mad that the refs call the fouls. Guess what? Players of every team do this exact thing. And if you want me to try to think of somebody who doesn't do this at all, who's a true star, right? Because Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, not J-Dub, when he flops, it's pretty annoying, right? You're like the seventh player on a championship team. That was a pretty bad slow-mo for you, my boy. It did not look good. That's tough. You don't want to see that, right? But look around the league with the stars. Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, LeBron James, they all do it. Jalen Brunson, he does it. Joel Embiid, I think, is the worst person in the league at doing this.
Austin Reeves,
I could
James
think
Harden,
of one.
the list goes on and on.
On and on, Cody. I could think of one star who truly doesn't flop. And guess what? He's worse off because of it. And that's Anthony Edwards. It's Anthony Edwards.
And I agree.
He should flop, right? Maybe one day the refs will go and say, hey, we got to really try to stop these floppers, man. We got to stop it. Let's reward Ant with these foul calls. It's not going to happen. And if you don't think that MJ was hunting fouls, if you don't think that Kobe was hunting fouls, let me tell you something. They lived on the free throw line.
Dwayne Wade.
Come on. He invented, well, he didn't, because it's been going on for 60 years. But Dwayne Wade perfected the pump and draw. Jimmy Butler. Dwayne Wade invented it. Kobe invented it. They're the guys.
Kevin Durant's rip through move.
They had a ban one of Kevin Durant's foul baiting moves. They had a ban. Well, they didn't ban it. They made it not a shooting foul, right?
That's right.
So exactly if you think this is new to the Thunder, you're telling on yourself that you haven't been a fan of basketball since you were a little kid. Okay? You might just not like the sport that much. This is not new. This is not weird. This is incredibly normal. And on top of all that, if you let this narrative take away from the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder are an incredibly tough team who play insane defense, who have depth and shoot the good old mid-ranger that you say you love, then you are just lying to yourself. That's it. And I have some takes on the other side of the coin that will come out in a second, Cody. But that was really important for me to get off my chest as well.
I appreciate it because it's the truth. And again, I'll say it. I've said it all year, Pete. Like anytime it's brought up, I've never denied that SGA falls sometimes, that he just shouldn't, that he embellishes calls, and that a lot of Thunder players like Caruso and Dort, like coming off screen, sometimes will just run into a guy and just drop. Like there's no question about it. I don't like it any more than other people. I'm telling you right now, I wish that the NBA would do something different about it. Maybe this will be finally enough. That there's enough of a narrative driven home that they will change to like FIBA rules. You've heard me mention that on this pod. I've always mentioned I don't really care for Joel Embiid, don't care for his game, never really been a fan. But I've always been consistent in this take. If you're going to award these guys or reward these guys for flopping or flailing or getting, away to the line, they should do it. Have you ever seen the commercial piece from a while back when, back in the day? Where they're playing a state championship and the kid comes off to the side and he tells the coach, he's like, hey, coach, that ball was actually out on me. I'm going to go tell the ref. Yeah. And anyone who's ever competed at anything is like, you better shut the hell up and sit down or you're off the team next year and I'm going to kick your dad's ass for ever even thinking about this. Like, who are you guys rooting for that kid to go tell the referee that it was out on him? Like, is that what you want? Because it's
kick
just
your dad's ass.
Like really though, Pete, like, what do you expect them to do? If you are going to reward these guys for doing this, then they are going to take the competitive advantage. Until you take it away, until you fine them or give techs or whatever it is, or change the rules, it's not going to change. But my issue has always been that it's not just OKC, it's not just SGA, it's a league-wide problem. Yes. It's an NBA problem. It's a referee's problem. That's been the same take since it was Harden being talked about. But, oh, Cody, you're a Harden guy. Okay, I am. But I certainly am not an Embiid guy, and my take has always still remained the same. You may not love to watch it, but it's an NBA problem, not an SGA problem.
Yeah, and I'll add this to it as well. There, to me, is a difference. It's a little bit of a square rectangle situation, right? All flops are attempted foul baits, but not all foul baits are flops, right? Like there's a difference between it. And I think Shea does both, right? And again, not just Shea, but I'll just use him as an example because he's kind of the cover boy of this conversation.
He is.
He does flail and flop. And sometimes I'm like, dude, are you serious? And Brunson does it with, unfortunately for this conversation for you, I think much less frequency, but he does it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He does it far less, and I actually don't really recall seeing it much in this playoffs at all.
I did see a stat that if you take away free throws, like he is the leading scorer by like 80 points so far in this playoffs and playing even less games than other folks. But again, besides the point, right? Like if those flails happen, even if it's Jalen Brunson and I'm a fan of the Knicks, I'm like, ugh, kind of yucky, right? Like kind of meh. But then there are other ones that are truly foul baiting that are just tactically impressive. And this was always kind of my argument for James Harden when people used to get so mad at him. And it's gotten kind of worse and worse as he's lost the ability to explode to the rim, right? Like, he's old now. He doesn't throw down dunks ever. He used to fucking throw down on people, right? Like James Harden used to step back and kill you from three and then drive past you and dunk on your head and then throw a floater to Clint Capella. It was very impressive what he used to do. It was also incredibly impressive and incredibly difficult to consistently get defenders in these horrendous positions where they had to foul you. It was truly an art form that was not for everybody, clearly, but was impressive. And Shea, not all the time, but a lot of the times, is baiting people into really bad positions because he's so good at basketball, right? Like, that's part of it. He doesn't shoot 55% from the field if he's not incredible. Okay. He's taking insanely difficult jump shots all the time. Fadeaways from the elbow, from the corner, threes, floaters, tough layups. And yes, does he hit the deck? Absolutely. Is it sometimes annoying? Absolutely. Is it taking away from an MVP 2 times, going for a second championship in a row? Not for me. Tell you that much. It ain't taken away from me. So to all the people who can't stand it, I just want to encourage you to try to look at the rest of the game, and also do yourself a favor and go back in the time machine. Go on YouTube, go on Twitter. I saw the clip getting floated around today, Cody. It was Jazz Bulls 1998, game 1 of the NBA Finals.
I watched this. It was like 3 minutes of the start of the game.
And it was like, oh, watch this, 3 minutes of beautiful basketball. That shit was a joke compared to what happens in the NBA today. And now that is not an assertion that they were a joke in 1998. In 1998, that was basketball at the peak of its goddamn powers. It was incredible. I was only 3, so I don't remember it, but I know for a fact that that shit was electric, Cody. It was awesome. And a 3-minute clip doesn't tell the whole story. But when you watch that clip, the first thing that happens is Michael Jordan gets the ball in the right wing. In today's NBA, he was wide open. In this clip in 1998, they were playing tough defense, Cody, because those players were less skilled. I'm sorry. They were less athletic. I'm sorry. They weren't as versed in the game of basketball as they are right now. And you look in the comments and you get both sides. Some people will say, oh, that was the glory game, man. That was beautiful. And you do have other people on the other side saying, if Deuce McBride was in this game, he'd be the best player, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get both sides of it, and both probably a little ridiculous. But just try to understand how fast, how paced and spaced the game is right now. The athletes are out of control. The shooting is unreal, like something we've never seen before, because we've never seen it before. Guys from the 2000s and the 2010s cannot shoot like they can today. You can't have a lineup on the floor with less than 4 shooters. It doesn't work. It can't exist in the NBA. It cannot exist. We see it every series. If you have a guy who has a major weakness, done. Get him out of here. He sucks, right? You had 2 or 3 non-shooters on the floor at all times for the history of the game. So with all the negativity around the ref shows, which last night was a ref show and not in a way that I enjoyed thoroughly, because with both sides, there was 60, no, you were right, by the way, 38 free throws. There was 70 free throws combined for the 2 teams. That's not that fun. That's okay. That happens sometimes, but don't let it take away from you the rest of the incredible athleticism, shot making, and skill that currently exists in the league. And on top of it, the defense that currently lives in the league. The Spurs, the Thunder, the Knicks are really playing incredibly high level defense, Cody. That has to be mentioned as well.
Yeah, and it's physical. And for last night's game specifically, at least on the Spurs side and a little bit on OKC side, it was a lot of undisciplined basketball, especially from the Spurs. It was a lot of pushing from the back. It was a lot of getting into bad positions. It was Steph Castle actually being called for hounding SGA, despite the fact that people think he has the friendliest whistle of all time. He really, hasn't gotten a lot of those calls that probably could be. He also never complains about it.
He doesn't complain. It's a great call.
Up and down.
Thank you for saying that.
He jumps up and down, Luka Doncic. And Nikola Jokic, too, literally will jump up and down like throw a fit instead of getting back on defense. And that's not talked about. So again, I will say, Pete, what you don't like is winning. And I'll give you 2 more points because they just keep coming to me now. Here's one of them. 3-4 years ago, SGA averaged 10.7 free throw attempts per game, the most in his career. OKC was 40-42 and a fun play-in team. Did anyone ever say anything about those free throws? Ever? Was it ever a topic? Not one mention of it. It got a little bit of steam as they were the 1 seed and they got beat by Dallas. It picked up a ton of speed when they were the second-year 1 seed and won the finals. You don't find that odd? You think I'm still the biased one? What is the online discourse, Pete, about the Kansas City Chiefs over the last 5 years? That the refs are in their pockets, right?
Right.
Isn't that what everyone says? That the referees are rigging games for the Chiefs?
Maybe, just maybe, they're really good. You ever think about that?
Like,
you know what I mean? Like
am I the crazy one here? Like, really? It drives me nuts to listen to real people talk about this.
I hate to give them credit, Cody, as we hit over 100 people on the Twitter and live, which is shout out to the Twitter.
Because we're talking about the free throws now.
No. Well, no, that's not what I was going to say. That's not what I was going to say, but maybe that too. I just happened to see the number. I hate to give this team credit in particular, but the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 years ago, we're both Giants fans, but I'm going to give them credit right now. I'm going to give them some credit right now. 2 years ago, when the Philadelphia Eagles were on their way to winning a Super Bowl, they had an incredible defense. They ran the hell out of the ball, and the tush push was unstoppable. It really was. Guess what? It's within the confines of the rules. Certainly. Right? Ain't that the truth? It is, because they keep doing it. Big conversation. It was a little frustrating year 1. Then year 2, they started spamming it. Teams started getting really pissed about it. A couple weird calls where I remember the Giants game. Again, the Giants had no playoff hopes, but it was early in the season, so it still felt pretty big. There was a play where no one heard a whistle and Brian Burns took the ball out of his hands and he was running the other way. And they're like, no, we blew the whistle. And Giants fans are just like, are you serious? This dumbass play that no one could stop, that isn't football, that is stupid and annoying, that everybody hates. You're not going to give us this when we had a chance to stop it for the freaking first time ever, right? I remember this happening. And my point is, the Eagles doing the tush push early was the tush push. That's fun. That's a funny name. The brotherly shove. Oh, that's fun. And then they won a Super Bowl. We got to ban this thing. This is stupid. This is annoying. I hate this. It also was true that the Eagles were really freaking good that year. They were really freaking good. They were awesome. Their defense was incredible. Their offense was great. They ran the hell out of the ball. Saquon was a freaking monster. And then last year, they really started sputtering. The tush push wasn't saving them, right? Jalen Hurts was struggling. Saquon Barkley couldn't get going. Their defense went from the best by far to okay, pretty good. And no one really started talking about the tush push anymore. Ain't that funny? Right? They're not a Super Bowl favorite anymore. No one cared about the tush push anymore. What happened here? Right? So to your point, the teams that are winning, that are in the spotlight, you just get judged differently. It's just like how Victor Wembanyama, if and when he loses in the playoffs, will start getting some pushback. It's already happening. Look at our friend Pat Boyle.
If they win, Pete, they'll become the new hated team.
And if they win 100%, well, when's he going to win an MVP? Is he going to win another finals? Is his body going to be able to hold up on this? Is he get officiated too lucky because he's so lanky? It's clockwork. It's clockwork. And now we've officially spent too much time talking about the most tiring narrative in sports. Again, shout out to Mike Didino for the comment. We talked about the most tiring narrative in sports for too long. So let's talk about the series for 10 minutes here. So where we smash, this is where we smash the over, Cody. We set the over at 10:15. We'd be done. We're about to smash it. That's okay. We're only by 10 minutes. We're going to smash it a little bit. The series has possibly 2 games left. The Thunder take the 3-2 lead. Going to San Antonio for game 6. What is the X factor for you for the Thunder to try to finish this in 6? To go into San Antonio and win this? What do you think needs to roll in the Thunder's direction for that to happen?
I'm going to give you a no doy, but I think SGA has to be the MVP to do it in San Antonio.
That's not a no doy.
When I say that, right, because he's been good-ish in the series. He's had some pretty bad games.
For his standard, you could say he's been fine.
Right. He was, I thought, masterful in game 2. I thought very good in game 3. I don't think he was good in game 4. I don't think he was very good in game 1. And I don't think, to his own admission, that he was very good last night, especially to start that game when it was, of course, still in the balance. It's just the beginning. He was turning the ball over. He wasn't hitting shots. He really was hindering them before he hit a little bit of a stride, and they helped get him going by, my opinion, just fouling him. Like, they were just fouling him. I didn't think there was flopping, flailing. I just thought they were playing undisciplined. So my eyes, to go into San Antonio and take it in San Antonio, it's like a 30 to 35 point efficient night, 2 or less turnovers, higher number of assists. Like, the assists have been there all series because they've been blitzing him so much, and he so often does make that right read. But the Spurs have done an unbelievable job. Like, even though we talked about some physicality, Steph Castle's just been all over him. And, like, I don't mind them letting him play as long as they're going to let it play and then just let it go on both sides. Like, let it go then. Let it play. Let's see who's going to be truly the better team. I think it starts with an SGA MVP. I'm the best player in the world, and I'm going to show you one last time on your home floor. That's how I think they could be able to take it in 6, but I do think it's going 7, my opinion.
Oh, okay. Good.
That's been my opinion since the start, and that's how I feel still now.
And that feels back to what we said, like, way earlier in the very beginning of the podcast. It's like every time a game ended, our confidence level and what we thought was going to happen next went really high just to get, like, completely flipped on its head. Right. So, like, Spurs win game 1, dramatic fashion. Holy crap. Wemby's an alien. This is insane. He's going to just run through this. He's going to run through the Thunder. Like, what?
The league.
And then, right. And through the whole league. And then the Thunder win 2. And you're like, oh, the Thunder are going to win this. We overreacted. And then, again, I don't want to reiterate everything, but not everyone probably listened to the beginning who's live right now. Like, then the Spurs win game 4. It's like, oh my God, no. Wemby's back. They're going to win. And now we're sitting here 3-2. And after game 5, the way the Thunder won, it wasn't particularly close at the very end, even though it was close for a while. Like, we now think as a collective hive mind, if you will, oh, the Thunder got this. They made it. They're going to win game 6. It's over. It's not the case, because I think, to add to your Shea must be good conversation, which I don't think is a no-doy, because I think people were just expecting that, and it hasn't been true the entire series, right? If he has scored 35 every single game this series, then I would say, yeah, no doy. He needs to score at least 35 for this team to compete. It's not been the case. So I'll call out the other side of it. One of these two people need to shoot the ball very well again, and that's Caruso or McCain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last game
at least one,
and maybe both. And if you want to say at least 2 of, then you bring in Kassan Wallace or Chet or whoever you want to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
But Caruso and McCain have been, without J-Dub, the alternate scoring punch. Like, Hartenstein's floaters have been cool. He's not a scoring punch, right?
No.
Like,
what did we put up, 12 last night?
12, but it was a big maybe? 12, man. It was a big 12, truly. And I'm not being sarcastic. Like, he hit some shots in moments where the offense got really stagnant and stuck, and the defense was so good. And the last option was Chet at the elbow, and he's like, to the moon. Like, yeah. So it was
a shame that we had to spend all the time on the free throws. Like, this is such good basketball.
It's so good. Anyway. I'll make sure I'll clip some of this stuff anyway. But McCain getting hot, who I talked about on Twitter. I just love this dude playing basketball. Now, if he was the best player on your team, you'd probably be like, holy crap, we suck, but, like, maybe it's pretty fun sometimes. It's maybe fun a lot, but it also sucks. Like, but as this pseudo 6th man, second option, third option guy, his confidence and willing to just let it rip is incredible. I mean, this guy will miss 4 in a row and then catch the ball above the break in a fast break situation and just be like, no hezzy, bang. And then throws up his painted nails, shakes his head, and just gets hyped. And I love what he brings to the table for this team in particular. And it's crazy to think that if you didn't have Jared McCain on your team, this season would look incredibly more bleak, like way more bleak. And you all snagged him from Philly at the deadline. And then Caruso goes without saying. To call out our good friend Mark Shenlugan one more time for just being wrong all the time. And he's not listening to this, though I wish he was, because I would love for him to hear me say he's wrong all the time. Alex Caruso, for our generation of players, is amongst the best role players that we've ever got to watch. I know Bill Simmons just did this on his podcast. He called out the likes of Robert Horry, amazing role player. Zach Lowe shouted out Danny Green, Warriors, Andre Iguodala. Like, there's many more people. Alex Caruso, defensive intensity is an understatement. Just being an absolute psychopath on defense, attacking rebounds. And now he's going to shoot the ball like this? Dude, what? He's been everything and more, a pure championship piece He might not be the queen on the chessboard, but he might be the rook because he ain't no pawn. This dude is special when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah, I'd like to try to be quick about going through some of these things. He is as impactful of a player beyond just role player, just an impactful player as I've seen anyone in Oklahoma City. They would not have won last year. They would not be where they are this year. There's no doubt in my mind. He is one of the biggest shifts from the team that got beat by Dallas to what they are now, who are so mentally tough right now. And Alex Caruso, to me, is the head of that part of that snake. Like, SGA is the calm. He, I think, is the persona of the team. I do think they follow him and go as he goes. But this playoff version of Caruso, who shot something like 28% from three in the regular season, is shooting, what, like 50% from three in the playoffs? Like, it's absurd. He's been unbelievable. I've been loving the Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso combined minutes. Like, the double C's are everywhere. They're in every passing lane. Cason Wallace has his hand on every single damn ball. He has been so good defensively, and he's been knocking down shots. He wasn't great knocking down shots last night, but he did add something like 5 assists, 6 assists, something like that, a couple boards, hit a timely three, like, and just defensively, he's been a menace. So I've loved the combination of those 2 minutes. You mentioned Jared McCain. At the time that they traded for him, SGA was hurt, J-Dub was hurt. So he came in when they were struggling, and it was like, oh, great, like a ball handling option. Or I'm sorry, it might have been, I don't know, it was 2 of the 3 of, or maybe all 3. AJ Mitchell might have been hurt too. But Jared McCain at the time when he came in was getting a ton of minutes, and it was like, all right, we wonder what this will look like in the playoffs. But they rounded out an extra ball handler and shooter, and it was such a great move, even if it was low-key or not exactly seen as that. They literally would not be in this spot without Jared McCain right now. Because if just SGA had to create against this defense, against these guards leading into Wemby, forget it. They'd already be done. Like, Jared McCain has been that important. iHeart, to me, has changed the series, them going to him, which, again, could sound like a no-doy, but he played 12 minutes in Game 1, and Mark Daigneault literally apologized to him. And since then, he has been, to me, the biggest change in the series, in OKC getting, back to their own ways and winning 3 of the next 4. So, like, for them, what they've been doing, just unbelievable. And the Spurs over there are trying to prove that the experience doesn't matter. Devin Vassell has been unbelievable. He didn't play great last night, but he has been just knocking down shots. Every time he shoots, I think the ball is going in. We know about Wemby. It does feel like maybe they're starting to wear on him just a little bit. There's times where he's not in there, and they're making him feel them a lot more. Every time he gets into the paint, he feels it on the way in. That's physical basketball. That's what you asked for. That's what you wanted. That's what it takes for Victor Wembanyama to be slowed down in any capacity, and they said it on the pod today, Pete. That's what he's going to see his entire playoff career, because
100%.
he does feel literally like a cheat code at times, like a created player in the NBA in like 2K. Like, that's how he feels. You add the guard play, Steph Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper, who's Dylan Harper since Game 1 or 2, since the injury, really just hasn't felt like Dylan Harper again, which certainly bodes well for OKC. But this Spurs team, it's coming. They're on their way. They're so well coached. They've got guys everywhere. Champagnie dropped like 22 last night. Keldon Johnson hasn't fully gotten it going, but he's still such a scary option, 6th man of the year. This is what should be talked about. This is how the series needs to be covered, because the talent is unbelievable. The chess match between the coaches, the MVP versus the alien, like we mentioned, like, it's so good for basketball, and it's being covered so poorly that it breaks my heart. It hurts me as an NBA fan to watch, but I'm glad we got it.
I think the numbers will show out. I think the series is going to get great ratings. It has gotten great ratings already. And the finals, no matter who it is in the finals, you're either going for a back-to-back champ, which hasn't happened since 2016, 2017 with the Warriors, 17, 18, whatever. The Kevin Durant 2 in a row. That's the last time there's back-to-back, 17, 18. And then also on the other side, if Wemby and the Spurs are in the playoffs, Wemby's in the finals against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. But it's going to be insane nonetheless. But I have a stat for you, Cody. You're going to like this a lot. Talk about playoff risers. Talking about all-time role players. We're talking about Alex Caruso. Give me a guess on his career three-point percentage. Just regular season career three-point percentage. It might shock you a little bit.
32%.
36.
Oh, better than I thought. Okay.
Better than you thought, right? But the first, couple of years of his career is 1.2 a game, 2 a game, 2 a game, 2.5 a game, 3, whatever. Then the past couple of years, it's been almost 5 when he was with Chicago, 3 and 3. But 36%. The past 2 regular seasons, since he's on the Oklahoma City Thunder, in the regular season, 35% 2 years ago, 29%, or last season, 29% this current
That's where I get
regular
32
season.
from what I've seen.
Yeah, so 29% this past regular season. In the play, that's 35% total. In the playoffs, give me a guess on what his career 3-point percentage is.
Career, so not just Thunder wise. 44%.
For his entire career, we're gonna go 39%, which is still very good. 3 percentage points higher. Good. And that's a real shooter, 39%, right? In the playoffs. Yeah. With the Thunder, the past 2 years, netting out at 44%, and this season in particular, 48%. That's stupid. And he's taking 5 threes a game, 48%. Alex Caruso, playoff riser, dude. Even when he was with LA, he had he shot pretty poorly in the playoffs with LA. When he was with Chicago the one series, he shot 39%. So this guy just in the playoffs just has ice in his veins.
He's built for it. I saw a clip of a pod, not to go too far. Clip of a pod where it was him, Cason Wallace, and I think Jalen Williams. And they were talking about how when he first got there, they were playing in like August in just more training, and they were just busting his ass. They were like, we were killing him. And they said something to him, and he goes, "You want me now, or do you want me in June?" Yeah. And I just was like, "Oh." And the guy was like, "Well, did you feel like, it's a new team, you had to show out at all?" He was just like, kind of in his own way, was just like, "Well, they're like, nah, talk your shit." He's like, "All right, I know who I am. Like, I know what I bring." And it was just like such a cold line. Like, do you want me now, or you want me in June? Brother, we want you in June, and we're seeing it.
Yeah, because I mean, this guy's a champion 2-time already, right? He wins another championship with the Thunder, which is very possible, obviously. He's going to be up that list of like Hall of Fame role players, if you will, right? Like, I don't know. Is Robert Horry in the Hall of Fame?
Probably. Like, I bet Robert Horry's sister's in the NBA Hall of Fame, to be honest. Everyone is.
That's fair. But Alex Caruso's career 7 points a game for his entire career. Robert Horry, who has 7 NBA championships, never made an all-star team, never made a all-NBA team, obviously. 7 points per game. In the playoffs, let's do this. This will be fun. In the playoffs, Robert Horry, 36% from 3. 36%. But man played a lot of playoff games. And they weren't ripping threes like they did back in the day. He had some crazy years. 44% this. Oh, yeah, it's nuts. I don't need to go down.
What does he have? 5 championships?
7, Cody. 7.
I had 7 in my head too, but it felt
back to back in Houston, 3 in a row in LA, and then every other year twice with San Antonio. So he hit 94, 95, 02, 05, 07. 7 titles. And like he averaged, especially early in his career, double-digit points in the playoffs, and obviously just hit massive shots for the Lakers, massive shots for the Spurs. Crazy stuff. On the Spurs front, speaking of the Spurs, who is that guy besides Wemby, right? Wemby needs to play well. I think even more so than I think for the Thunder and OKC. Wemby kind of needs to do some special stuff for them to win this series here. Maybe not to win one game, but to win both of the next 2 games, Wemby needs to be special.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Who scares you the most outside of Wemby when they're attacking the rim, shooting the ball, whatever?
That's tough. I mean, it feels like De'Aaron Fox is a little compromised. It feels the same with Dylan Harper. So I'll cop out a little bit, and I'll say 2 of the 3 of Steph Castle, Dylan Harper, and De'Aaron Fox. If 2 of those 3 are really clicking, really hitting, it opens up the floor for other guys, like I mentioned, Champagnie and Keldon Johnson. Steph Castle, to me, is very Russell Westbrook-like. I mentioned this to you guys, like, part of that is the turnovers, but it's also the ferociousness he plays with, the fearlessness. His first step is unbelievable. So I kind of expect Steph Castle to once again have somewhere between 15 and 22 points. And it's kind of like, it's more like one of 2 between Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox. If either one of them really has it going, scary hours.
Yeah, I think Vassell has been the guy to me who's kind of stood out as the scoring punch guy. Yeah, he's just been the most versatile, if you will, when it comes to being able to shoot, obviously, and kind of get hot over stretches from three. But then he can put the ball on the ground
He
and
hits the
get in there.
mid-range too. I mean,
Yeah,
he
can hit
really
the midi.
has had a great series.
He can attack the rim, and I think if he's hitting a 20-point mark, that bodes incredibly well for the Spurs. I think you look at what Castle does offensively, you kind of know, great game from him is going to be 20, 22. Mediocre game is going to be 14. Like he's kind of in that range right now just because he plays so aggressive and he's just so involved. He's going to throw down a couple dunks. He's going to hit at least 1 or 2 threes out of 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7. And he gets a little happy sometimes to take them. If Harper could be healthier, I would be very excited to watch what he did in this series, but he just does not seem right. He doesn't seem like he's moving at full go.
No,
Which again,
that's my opinion.
To circle this all back to the New York Knicks and the impending NBA Finals, Cody, do you have nerves for either team or both teams, I should say, about the grueling nature of this series for what happens next? Like, say you didn't have a family full of Knicks fans, right? Say you didn't care about the Knicks at all. Say you had a family full of Nets fans who hated the Knicks and you don't even care about them.
Okay.
And you were just like, you know what? If the Thunder lose, I want to see the team that beat us to go all the way. So at least we lost to the champs, right? Like, say that was your thought process, which I know it's not.
No.
Would you be nervous about the Western Conference's chance after a series like this?
Yeah, I think that it's. I don't want to diminish the Knicks in any way by saying it's like even the playing field because I don't think that's the reality. I think the Knicks are already there.
It certainly helps.
I do think it helps, and the Knicks have taken care of business, which is a big deal. They're not lucking into this rest. They've earned this rest. But Oklahoma City and San Antonio are playing such a physical series, despite OKC only playing 8 games leading into it, sweeping both those 2 series, which feels like a lifetime ago, because you always knew this was pending, like this doom of the Spurs. They played each other so hard, neither of them are going to come out unscathed. They're both a little banged up. It certainly bodes well for the Knicks as you guys, continue to just get to sit back and watch, and hopefully you do enjoy a little bit of it the way I know you and I have been. I think it just bodes so incredibly well for the Knicks.
Yeah, I think with the Spurs, it bodes more importantly. Weirdly enough, if the Thunder can somehow win tomorrow without J-Dub, right, or without AJ Mitchell, the rest portion of the conversation will get far less important very quickly because now J-Dub didn't have to come back and try to gruel through a game 7.
Yeah.
Right. Because it sounds right. It sounds like to me, based upon the reporting, J-Dub being questionable, if he life depended on it, he'd go out there and try because he's a tough dude. He's competitive as all hell. He's looked pretty damn good when he's out there. Just when he's out there hasn't lasted, right? AJ Mitchell looks like he was a little bit more hindered when he was trying to play through it. The rest for the Thunder, albeit less than the Knicks, is still going to help them, I think, at the end of the day. So if the Spurs can win it, I think the resting is a major victory for the Knicks. If the Thunder end up in the finals, which is my prediction, it's going to be less important unless it's game 7 and J-Dub and AJ Mitchell feel like they have to give it a go and kind of gruel it out again.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to see J-Dub at this point than AJ Mitchell, which is crazy to me from when I saw the injuries. I thought he was definitely just done. I just think if it goes to 7, you'll see J-Dub give it a go.
Right.
What the
minutes
OG, remember
what OG did? Remember OG did it 2 years ago against the Pacers. He came out and hobbled, hit a 3, and then was like, I gotta go. I can't do it.
A little further back, but James Harden with the Nets.
Yeah, one leg bouncing around.
And you see he's certainly not the same guy. So hopefully we don't find out. But I think it goes 7. I think you see Dub in 7. I don't think we see AJ Mitchell. And man, I'm just gonna keep enjoying it because it's been fun to watch.
All right, so really quickly, tell me what happens game 1 if it's Knicks Thunder. Are your brothers shit talking you? Are they giving you a hard time? Especially since you already have a title last year.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna get bullied by your family if that's the matchup?
Yeah, we were there today. We talked about it. My youngest brother will probably give the most grief, no question. Troy will be the one who will probably be talking. I won't be talking at all because, like I said, like there is like this part of me that's like I really want it for New York. Like I want it for we're in a spot, Pete, as New York sports fans where we are the butt of the joke and should be. Like it's been years since a championship. We have been laughable in every sport in which we put out 2+ teams. So there is a small part of me that's like, I did get one. I really want to get past the Spurs. And then after that, I'll be okay with either side of the result. It really will be.
You'll be pulling for the Thunder pretty hard, but you will not be like
when I'm watching,
as devastated if they lose.
Yeah, like what I know is when I'm watching, as much as I may like almost want to root for the Knicks, I know when I'm watching, I'm going to root for the team that I've been rooting for the past 15 years and this iteration of them, which has been scolded, and I've been coming to their defense. So that plays a part. So I don't think it's going to be them like ripping into me or anything, I will hear it. I will hear it.
I will say this. Watching a team when you're truly rooting against them changes how you see everything, right? Like the Pacers are the perfect example of this for me. So yes, the Pacers knocked the Knicks out 2 years ago. The Knicks were not ready. They were super hurt. There was a million excuses why the Knicks lost that series, right? By the end, Brunson was hurt. Randall was hurt. Mitch was hurt. Like it was not a team that was ready to make a run to the championship, despite having that notion for like a hot second, right? The Pacers last year, I started really hating them. Aaron Nesmith's going to hit another shot like that. Are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean? Like this Halliburton dude. But in the regular season, I would watch the Pacers. I'm like, I love how Halliburton plays basketball. I think he plays the game the best way you could possibly play it as a point guard. I love it so much. Then I watched it in the playoffs. He was like, fuck this team. Fuck these guys. I hate them. Blah, 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 blah. Much respect to them. They're a great team, by the way. But like, I'm curious to see how you watch that series if it happens. Like, are you going to be like, oh my God, Brunson is actually mad annoying. Like, like you watch them enough, I guess, to know them more intimately.
Yeah,
but like,
I think
I don't know.
It's the opposite side. I think it will be Knicks fans like who I talk to, at least my one buddy, Kevin Farrell, all the time. Shout out. Maybe he'll listen, doubt it. All the time. We talk pretty much every day about both sides, both teams. He's a huge Knicks fan, knows I always watch, support. My other buddy was texting me today. He's a Knicks fan, huge Knicks fan. Justin Ochoa was like, we'll be waiting for you, you know. I think what's going to happen, the far likeliest, is that Knicks fans will hate Oklahoma City the same way everyone else has, because it's already driven into their heads. And like you mentioned, when you play a team and you play them in a grueling matchup, especially in the finals, I hated the Pacers by the end of it too. I was saying to my brothers today, I hate Mitch Johnson's face right now. I don't have a reason to. I just don't like it anymore. It's because they're really good and he's a great coach. That's what's going to happen. I don't think it will come from me hating the Knicks in any way. I know it will be the Knicks and the Knicks fans, and I just hope there's still a line of respect for each, like for themselves, so that I don't have to start going, damn, I used to really like these Knicks fans, but they're crybabies just like the rest of the NBA. You know, I don't want that. But I might start to feel that way because I'm so fed up with the narrative myself. I don't know. We're only going to find out one way, and that's if Oklahoma City wins one of the next 2 games.
We shall see. I would say that I'm rooting for you with my full force, but I can't say that entirely. And if you didn't win last year for my good friend Cody O'Connor, I would say I want your team to be in the finals. This would be so fun for me and you to have this matchup together. But because you won last year, and because I think the Spurs are a better matchup, I'll maybe be possibly kind of rooting for the Spurs a little bit. Though for this podcast in particular, I look forward to that preview if it's Knicks and Thunder. I do
know
very
this.
Much look forward to
it. If it's Knicks Spurs, I'm pulling hard a Knicks fan.
Yeah, because theoretically, your first 15 years of life, you were a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
By default, probably.
Yeah, the way it worked out was like I started to kind of swap around. Like I loved watching when Vince Carter became a Net, and I really liked watching the New Jersey Nets. And I just loved basketball so much.
Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson was so fun as a kid.
And the Knicks were so bad during that time. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. So I didn't become a Nets fan. I liked Kobe a lot. I didn't become a Lakers fan. And then it all turned out to OKC, and I just rocked with them, stuck with them, and they became too much fun to deny. And now here we are. Over 130 people. Over 130 people
popped in on Twitter. Shout out to everybody who listened live on Twitter. Handful of people in and out on YouTube. I don't get the total numbers until after, but thank you for listening live. If you didn't listen live, obviously you probably listened to this. This is the end of the podcast, right? So if you're hearing this, you listened already. To Spotify or Apple Podcast app, you can drop a comment on Spotify, drop a rating of 5 stars. Follow us on socials at Subway Sports Talk. Thunder, Spurs, Game 6, Thursday night. Game 7, if needed, Saturday night. Game 1, NBA Finals, no matter what. Wednesday, June 3rd. Just a week from right now. A week from right now, Cody, we're going to be overreacting to Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and I can't wait for that opportunity to do it for the team that I've been rooting for my entire life. Subway Sports Talk for Cody O'Connor. I'm Pete Kennedy. You have last words? You look like you're about to say something.
No, I just really want to once again hammer home congratulations to the Knicks on winning the Eastern Conference. It is super cool, and you get a week to enjoy it. And that is like the coolest time as a sports fan is when you've just accomplished something like that. And then like when you go to the Super Bowl, which has been quite some time, but you get all that time to like look back and enjoy it and still be excited for what's to come. So until you have to hate me, until we have to maybe hate each other, congrats and just enjoy it because it's awesome. It's so cool for the Knicks and for New York.
Hell yeah. Shout out to basketball. I love it. And shout out to the Mets. They won. Devin Williams walked 3 people in the bottom of the ninth and then struck out 3 people in the bottom of the ninth. And the Knicks win. The Mets won 4-2. So are the Mets back?
They're within like 10 and 11 games of 500. I mean, it just takes one 15-2 stretch to get back to 500.
You'll appreciate this, Cody. I've bet on the Knicks. I keep saying the Knicks. I'm trying to maybe goodwill some good energy to the Mets way. I bet on the Mets 4 nights in a row, 4 games in a row. They obviously lost 4 games in a row. And tonight I was like, am I going to do it again? And I said, I have to do it until they win now. So not only did I bet the Mets to win tonight, I also bet Soto home run and Mets win. And I needed that. I needed that real bad. So at least the Mets got me something here tonight. That's all we got. Subway Sports Talk. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Oh, I can't stop this. That's good.
10,
what's up,
14.
people? Yeah, 10:40. No, we didn't say 10:40. I can't stop this live right now because my screen is frozen. So I'm going to refresh.
To exit out or anything?
You can exit out. I'm going to refresh my page, and hopefully it lets me stop it when I come back in because we didn't lose connection. I'm watching us right here. Look at this Inception. Bang. But we're still live. Hey, who's there? All right, I'm going to refresh my page. I'll probably dip out for a second. I'll come back in and stop the recording. Subway Sports Talk. Cheers. We're back, baby. And we're gone. Subway Sports Talk. Deuces.